One more time from the top. We are gathered here today on the 12th of May, 2023, to say goodbye to the Phoenix Suns from the 2022 to 2023 season. Here lie all the hopes and dreams of Phoenix Suns fans here on this day. It's just so sad.
Pain.
Sean.
All I know is pain.
Pain and suffering. It's been the status quo.
Gerald just walked in. I can't see your face right now.
Gerald saluting us. For the last 55 years. Misery. Misery and sadness and pain. What did we do to deserve this, Sean? Why? Why?
No. Gerald's being tortured off screen.
Max has his lighter out. This is a truly tragic day for everyone here in the Valley who calls the Phoenix Suns their NBA team. Why? All I can do is ask why. Put on a brave face.
I don't have any words.
No words. There's no words. Well, happy not so happy Friday, everybody. Thank you for joining our funeral for the Phoenix Suns here on the Phoenix Sports Podcast. If you're hearing this for a second time, no, you're not. Sean, how are you doing, Sean?
I mean, not good. Not good at all. I just saw Gerald's face. That made things way worse.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was soul crushing.
Yeah, the last 24 hours have been soul crushing.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. Just pain and suffering, man. I feel like I have to laugh to just like not cry, you know? Otherwise, I'm just gonna break down.
Like I said, that's how I cope with pain. It's laughter and smiles.
Yeah.
I'm smiling a lot.
Yeah.
I'm in a lot of pain.
I think we also need to say goodbye to the rally rat that made its way into Gerald's backpack.
I think that was a
bad omen.
A plague rat.
Yeah.
There's a rat carrying the Black Death.
It was the fucking baby from last year.
It was
the baby. It was the baby.
The baby. Damn.
It's just been
there's always something.
A curse.
There's always a totem of the apocalypse.
Yeah.
Every year it was the baby. This year it was the
rat.
backpack rat.
Oh, you guys. If you're in the comments right now, feel free to drop your feelings. This is a safe space. Vent it out. If you happen to see any gloaty Nugget fans, just ignore them. We got to take it on the chin because we talked a lot of shit and we were in this position. So, you know,
I mean, it's still fuck the Nuggets. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I mean, I'm not backing down off that. But.
Yeah. So just let it out in the comments. We're here for you. We're going to get into all of it. We're going to break it all down. We're going to vent. If you're looking for a happy, upbeat, positive podcast, this might not be your place. We are wearing our mourning black, our funeral black for a reason. But we have a lot to get to, including everything that happened last night and everything that happened this morning. DA talked to the media. Chris Paul talked to the media. The trade rumors are already going crazy. Like, there's so much to get into that we haven't had time to talk about yet. So stick with us. Mourn in the comments. Ignore all the annoying Nuggets fans. It's going to be okay. Before we get into everything, though, I actually might need a Four Peaks beer. Alcohol might be the only thing that will soothe my aching heart at this point. A nice hazy IPA to numb the pain sounds great right about now. What is your numbing medication of choice?
Well, either the hazy or the hop knot. Give me an IPA with that higher ABV for pain like this. I don't feel like I deserve a nice light wow or golden lager. I need something heavy.
I need something heavy to numb the pain. So shout out to our friends at Four Peaks for being our go-to beer to take away the sadness and provide some levity in this situation. Make sure you head over to Instagram and follow them at Four Peaks Brew. You can also check them out at Four Peaks Pub on Twitter to keep up with the latest at Arizona's hometown brewery. You must be 21 years or older to drink Four Peaks. Please drink responsibly. Also want to give a shout out to Mountain Mike's for bringing in pizza to the office this week. It would have been great to have pizza today to kind of lift the spirits, but I will always take Mountain Mike's pizza. It is always delicious, even if it's not soothing the soul of a broken-hearted Suns fan. Head on over to mountainmikespizza.com or to their Mesa, Chandler, or Tucson locations to place your next order. Reminder, new diehards get a $50 voucher upon signing up. All right, let's get into our funeral. I have one question and one question only, Sean.
Oh boy.
Earmuffs, if anyone under the age of 18 is listening to this podcast right now. What the fuck was that?
I mean,
what was that? Are you kidding me?
What do you want me to say?
Game 6, elimination, a trip to the Western Conference Finals on
You're
the line.
You're acting like we haven't been here before.
I know, but that's the worst part of this, which we're going to get into the worst part of this in a minute.
I saw this coming 100%. I just thought it was going to happen in Game 7. Like I had said, I thought the Suns were going to win last night and then have this happen to them in Game 7. So it hurts a little bit because I wasn't prepared for it.
Yeah.
But I mean, this team just ain't it, man. It is as constructed. It just ain't it.
I just don't know what I watched last night.
Abject failure.
It was so disappointing for so many reasons. Like, there's not just like one thing about that game that made it suck. Like, there were so many things that sucked. They lost by more 25 points to the Nuggets. They entered the postseason as favorites to win the Western Conference, only to be eliminated by another blowout loss at home in the second round. Feels very familiar. Mm-hmm. The Suns gave up 44 points in the first quarter. They trailed by 30 points at halftime. They left the court to a smattering of boos from
understandably so
relentless Suns fans. And it wasn't ever good. Like, but there was one point in the game. It was almost to the end of the first quarter. Kevin Durant had 4 points. He was 1 for 8 in field goal shooting. He made no 3 points. No 3-point baskets were made by Kevin Durant, all the way almost to the end of the first quarter. And then there's a graphic if you want to put it up, Shane. Devin Booker at one point also only had 5 points. He was 2 for 8 on field goal shooting, and he was 1 for 2 for 3 points. So
that good?
That is not good. That is tragic. That is not what you want to see from your 2 superstars on your roster.
Yeah, man. And it's like, is that enough? And do they obviously deserve blame? Yeah, but like, to have them both disappear at the same time, you got to wonder what's going on there.
Did they wake up and not eat their Wheaties? Like, I mean, what was that?
Yeah, and then it's like, I know everyone wanted to blame DA, but he wasn't playing. Old man Chris Paul wasn't playing. Like, and even if the Suns had lost this game, like, that's whatever. Like, I mean, look at the Knicks Heat game tonight. I expect the Knicks to lose, but I expect Jalen Brunson to drop 30 points. Your stars still got to be your stars, no matter what, and they weren't.
Yeah,
that's obviously a problem. Like, and it's one thing for Devin Booker to do this, but you traded for Kevin Durant. You jeopardized your future for Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's supposed to be a top 5 scorer all time, and he was not that. I don't know, man. I mean, Ryan saying vintage Thunderstruck KD right there on that graphic. Like, yeah, it reminds you of that. I forget exactly the stats, but just that one really bad playoff series he had back in OKC. Thought that was behind him. I mean, it wasn't in this last night, at least.
Yeah. The lights can't be too bright in situations like this. Like, your superstars have to show up.
Well, and the thing is KD's done it on brighter lights before. He's won Olympic golds. He's won NBA Finals MVPs. Like, he's done it on brighter lights. So I can't sit here and say the lights were too bright, because they've certainly been brighter at other points in his career. Devin Booker is one thing, but even then, they've been brighter. He's been to the finals before.
Yeah. Jose, we're not blaming Booker, so just cool your jets a little bit there, my guy. Yes, we did watch the series. It's our job to watch the series, and we will be talking about his rolled ankle situation
And also,
a little bit later in the show. So
fuck a 28 point. It doesn't mean shit when the biggest game of your season you don't do anything.
Cool your jets, my guy.
That's the difference between stars and superstars. I mean, Devin Booker certainly isn't the only player to blame, but he certainly deserves a significant portion of it when he is your team and he doesn't do anything in an elimination game.
Yeah. Cameron Payne decided to be the only person to show up and play last night. He had his playoff high 31 points. And if Cam Payne is your leading scorer on your roster, we've got a big freaking issue.
Unless Cam Payne's going nuclear and he's dropping 50 on him, then that's fine, but it's not exactly what happened.
I just I'm so disappointed. The criticism surrounding the team, I think, is all fair, because this was not the year to lose this way. I think it wouldn't hurt as bad if they didn't lose in that fashion. They got pooped on.
Yeah, if they had lost in a close game and Devin Booker and KD had done Devin Booker and KD things, then it was okay. They lost to a 1 seed. They didn't have a bench. We knew that they may have been a piece or two away. They were losing their starting point guard, losing their starting center, even though neither of them were necessarily world beaters. That's obviously not to, no excuses. You still want to win, but it's a much easier loss to live with.
Yeah.
As opposed to doing this for a second year in a row.
But this was not the season to do this because they hedged their future. They sold the farm. 4 first-round draft picks, Mikal freaking Bridges. This was not the year to lose like this, because if you're going to make a big freaking move like that during the season, you had to give your fan base confidence that that was the right move.
Yeah.
And right now, Suns fans, there's a lot of people out there that's saying that was not the right move. We should have never done that for Kevin Durant, which whatever you're feeling, whatever you're saying, I don't really know. You're not going to know until all this plays out if it was the right move or not. But this was not the year to lose like this. You had one job, and that was to sell this trade to your fan base. So at least if you lost this year for whatever godforsaken reason, going into next season, nobody was pressing the panic button because it was okay because we had Kevin Durant and last minute buzzer beater, game 7 knockout. Anything was better than how they lost this series. And now we have people saying this was not the move we should have made. Kevin Durant can only shine when other people on the roster are shading him. There was a comment that said Kevin Durant only does well when he's on a super team. And yes, we have Devin Booker, and yes, he is a superstar, but I don't think I would call the Suns a super team.
No,
would you?
No. I mean, I'm going to disagree that this is not the worst time for this to happen. I'd argue this is the best time for this to happen. Because if they had lost this in close or something like that, and then you give them a reason to run it back with Monty, with the team being essentially the same as it is, I don't think that's a good situation.
Yeah.
Because I know we'll probably get into it, but they're going to have to make some changes, and I think that starts at the top.
Yeah.
And if they had given them a reason to think that they were only, a piece away, then the Suns, then that could have been a bad situation because you could end up just postponing this to next year, which would have been a significantly worse situation, in my opinion. So, obviously, not good that this happened, but better now than later, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I just and the other thing that I was saying earlier is I don't even know where to point the blame.
I do. I don't have enough hands to point it in all the directions I need to, but like I said, I think it starts at the top. I think it starts with Monty and James Jones.
The Nuggets went on a 17-0 run and not a single timeout was called. I think a coach of a 6-year-old team would know that if a team is going on a 17-0 run, you call a timeout.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Coaching decisions were questionable at best. The bench was the bench that we all thought it was going to be, unfortunately, which is another, the Suns' depth problems is another huge issue and a glaring concern that this team is going to have to figure out in the offseason. Team chemistry, I think, was an issue. And I know people were laying in me saying that's a dumb take. It's Kevin Durant. He's going to fit on any team that he goes to. But chemistry is a real thing. It's one of those intangibles that you need when you're on the biggest stage in the NBA playoffs, that you know what your team is doing even without having to talk to them. And the Suns didn't have that. And KD even said that last night during his post-game press conference. He said, quote, "We need more time to get to know each other better, not only as individuals, but especially as basketball players."
Well, yeah, and it also doesn't help, like I said, that your starting point guard and starting center were out. So any chemistry you did have, kind of get thrown to the wind anyways because
but like that
you
also
have two different dudes in the starting lineup.
Two different dudes in the starting lineup. I'm not, and listen, we're not trying to make excuses. Like I know people are like, oh my God, you're making excuses. Oh yeah, Jamal Murray. Okay, yeah, great. But like 2 of your 5 starters are not in the lineup. So any chemistry that you had to build in the limited time that you had because Katie got hurt, breaking news, again during the season, gone out the window. And then once again, CP3 is hurt in one of the biggest moments that we need CP3, which par for the course, like a fucking course he is. DA decides not to play. I know he didn't decide to play, but I feel a little angry at DA. Can't play in game 6. Like they're just,
yeah.
Why? What did we do to deserve this?
Yeah, Zone is kind of summarizing how I felt about DA. Like, you definitely, like, DA definitely deserves blame. And obviously, but like you look at what happened in that last game, DA wasn't on the court and they got embarrassed. And obviously you could say that like DA being on the court changes things, but like you're going to sit here and blame him when he's on the court and then try and sit here and blame him when he's not on the court. Like DA clearly wasn't the only problem.
There were multiple issues.
So, and I know we're going to get more into who we blame for this, but
yeah. We're going to get into all the trade rumors. I know people are talking about it in the comments. I promise you guys we're going to get into that. We're just getting all of our emotions and our feelings out right now, which we encourage you to do in the comments. Because like I am honestly like I'm upset. Like I am heartbroken about this loss. Like I was at the game last night in the press box and I just could not believe what I was saying. And I think above all else, like they just didn't look like they wanted to be there. Like they did not come out and look like they wanted to play basketball. The Nuggets punched them in the mouth.
Yeah, at home.
Absolutely came out, punched them in the mouth on their home court, and the Suns never recovered. They didn't play with any enthusiasm. Like, I don't know what their mentality was, if they were just discouraged so much because they didn't have 2 of their 5 stars. I don't know, but God, at least look like you want to be there. Right?
Yeah. I mean, no. I mean, there's no excuses for how embarrassing it was. Like it's literally embarrassing. There's nothing more to it than that. Jasper saying hire JJ Redick, which I am a fan of. You can't do that. Like you're at home, win or go home. You've talked a lot of shit. Your fans have talked a lot of shit. Like you have to at least put in an effort. You can't get blown out like that, and they did. So
just no effort. Oh my God. And I think, because I'm going to ask you what disappointed you the most, but I think the lack of effort, the lack of energy, the lack of enthusiasm, the lack of just wanting to play a basketball game is what disappoints me the most. Like going into that game, obviously the odds were stacked against the Suns. They're missing Ayton. They're missing CP3. They already had a depleted depth. Like their bench was not great. Like we knew that it was like a David versus Goliath situation. Like you're telling me that Jock Landale and Busy are going to guard Jokic, the best player in the NBA.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
No, but yeah, you're right. No, like, yeah, it's absurd.
Jokic is unbelievable.
Yeah, and I think it's at a point now where he's the best player in the Western Conference. You have to
no doubt.
Yeah, you got to build your team to beat this team now.
And
by
so,
and large, so
obviously the odds were stacked against him going into that game, and so I don't know if they just looked at the insurmountable odds and were like, I guess we just have to play this game and get through it. I don't know. But that was what was most disappointing to me, was just looking at them looking like they did not want to be there, because that arena was full of fans that had their hopes through the roof and they did not deliver for anybody in that building.
Yeah. No, they didn't. Suns fans most certainly deserve better. And like, yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and waste time speculating on why they didn't get up, because it ultimately doesn't matter, because there is no good reason not to. Like you got one job to play basketball, and to try when you're doing it, and you could say they played basketball, but it didn't look like they were trying.
Yeah. Triple B saying Katie and Booker were spent. I mean,
which very well may be true.
Booker can use that excuse of he had the team on his back throughout the entire playoffs. Katie less so. I mean, I still don't think we got. Obviously, Katie contributed and Katie was great, but we didn't get a vintage Kevin Durant performance.
Yeah, but I
genuinely don't think we saw the best of Kevin Durant.
He was awful for KD standards.
Yeah,
but he played 43 minutes, so that's even worse. Like,
well, yeah,
he was empty minutes out there while wasting energy, and then he gets even worse. The
inefficiency from Kevin Durant scared me.
Yeah, and I mean, like, ultimately, is having a 36, 37-year-old be like the entire focus of your team probably the best situation to be in?
No,
Probably not. Like, your young star probably should be carrying a lot of that weight, and like there were plenty of games where KD did score, but yeah, again, none of that matters for KD or Book in the last game, or if it doesn't, none of it matters if in the last game you don't show up. But yeah, you certainly were looking for KD to have at least one of those games where it's like, oh, that's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. And he didn't have that.
He did not have a first ballot Hall of Fame performance in any of the playoff games. That's for sure. So what disappoints you the most? That was my answer. What's yours?
I mean, we're going to spend more time on it, but it's Monty, man.
Monty disappoints you the most?
Yeah. I'm going to say it now. Monty needs to be fired. Like, he needs to be replaced. We're going to spend more time on that later, but yeah, Monty is it's not him. You know, he's sitting here talking about how he knows his guys live for these kinds of moments and he's ready for these games and all this stuff. And then Landry clearly is not good enough to be starting a point guard, which obviously there's only so much you can do about that because of the roster that you have. But like, he just clearly was not utilizing his bench right. You talked about the timeout. His guys were not up for this. He did it 2 years in a row. Like, obviously, something's got to be different. You hoped. I really wanted Monty to be it. I love him as a guy, and I wanted him to be the answer, but he's not. He disappointed me.
All right. Well, I don't know if that was a hot take or not. Many on the internet would say it's not.
I don't think people think it's out.
We will be getting into Monty Williams' future with the Suns and the contract that he is under and what he said about his job security, because he talked about it today in a little bit. Before we do that, I feel like I need to take an OGs.
Oh my God, maybe 3.
Because my blood pressure is through the freaking roof. I am all types of wound up right now talking about this team, and I imagine I will continue to be wound up throughout this entire podcast talking about this team because the level of disappointment is crazy. So I think I'm going to pop an OGs after this podcast to calm back down.
Might be joining you.
I think an orange creamsicle indica might be a little in my future.
Yeah, that sounds sleep off the pain.
Yeah, just wake me up when it's next season. If you want to partake in the OGs, I highly recommend you do, especially now because they have released their new mixed bags. They have the fruits and the creams in one bag. I think this is probably the best thing that's ever happened to OGs.
Orange creamsicle, blackberries and cream,
watermelon,
and peach and cream, all in the same bag.
In the same bag. Unbelievable. If you want to chill out like we do, you can find them at your local dispensary at ogsbrands.com. You obviously must be 21 years or older to enjoy responsibly. All right. So we kind of talked about what we attribute the loss to. I think it's a lot of things. I don't think there's just one thing.
No, there most certainly isn't. Yeah.
You have to have multiple arms to point in all the directions of which to blame for that horrendous loss we witnessed yesterday. I think one thing, though, that isn't talked about a lot because it's going to be called an excuse is the fact that Devin Booker, unconfirmed, may or may not have been playing through an injury. He obviously rolled his ankle, landed weird in game 5. I think when that moment happened and he was laying down behind the basket, everyone in the state of Arizona was holding their breath.
Yeah.
We were at the Game 5 watch party at BetMGM, and not a single person spoke.
Yeah.
We were all watching that like, oh my God, if Devin Booker is hurt, this is the end. He came back. He played the rest of the game. He obviously played a majority of Game 6. The Suns medical team did not diagnose him with anything. They did not come out and say, you know, he has an injury. Monty Williams, when he was talking to the media after the game last night, he said, you know, there's no official injury, but I noticed that Devin Booker was not playing with the same pop, quote unquote. Do you think Devin Booker was playing through an injury? Do you think that affected his performance? I know that he hasn't been able to speak for himself because he did not not talk after the game yesterday.
He's been able to. He's chosen not to.
He did not talk after the game yesterday, and he also did not show up to media availability today either, which he was supposed to do. So we haven't been able to hear from Devin Booker on anything, any explanation about what was going on. But Monty Williams said he noticed that he wasn't playing with the same pop. What are your thoughts on that situation, Sean?
I mean, my initial thoughts, it doesn't matter. It's the playoffs. Everyone's playing through injuries. I mean, obviously, if he's hurt and it's limiting his performance, that, I mean, your team shouldn't, like, it shows the problems with the team. Like, I don't care if he's your best player. If one guy is not in the game, playing even at half speed, and you just turn into a complete joke of an NBA team. Like, that's a problem. But it's obviously like, it sucks that it always seems like there is something for Suns fans, like because I'm not the kind of person who's going to sit here and make excuses, but there are obviously plenty of fans who do, and it always sucks that it seems like there's something.
Yeah.
Right. Like there was the mystery COVID that the team had there's now this, and there's Chris Paul's injury and DA's injury and whatever. Like there's just always some kind of excuse.
Yeah.
And that annoys me, but it ultimately doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You got it. The playoffs. If you're playing, you got to be playing.
Yeah. Simplicity saying D-Book ain't no Ayton. He's playing.
Yeah.
I mean, come hell or high water, Devin Booker was probably going to play in that game because it's an elimination game. And they obviously, this is Devin Booker's team and they need Devin Booker on the court. So I wasn't ever like, unless it was like an absolutely like an injury that it couldn't be played through, like he broke his foot or tendons were torn or whatever. Like I expected Devin Booker to be out there, and like you said, it's the playoffs. Everyone's playing through injury, and you really can't lie on excuses. Like the Suns had so many opportunities to win games. I mean, look at Game 2. Jamal Murray disappeared in Game 2. He was nowhere to be found.
But good teams can get through stuff like that,
and good teams can get through stuff like that. But that was an opportunity for the Suns to win on the road.
Yeah.
And they couldn't capitalize on that opportunity of Jamal Murray not showing up.
Yeah.
So there were many opportunities for the Suns to show up and to not have to be backed into the corner that they were backed into. And, Devin Booker, whether he was playing through an injury, a rolled ankle, a bruised situation, whatever it was, we don't know. I don't think we can say that's why we lost.
Yeah, no, I don't think, like you said earlier, there's no one reason you can sit here and say why they lost. There's a bunch of stuff. And yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's any point in making excuses at this point. You just got to find the problems and figure out solutions to them.
Yes. One thing we do want to talk about too, and people in the comments have been talking about, is the fact that not only did Devin Booker not stay to talk to the media last night, he also did not come today to talk to the media. The Suns had availability. Monty Williams talked. CP3 talked. Deandre Ayton talked. Devin Booker was not there yet again. And personally, I hate that. I don't agree with that move, and I think it's a little bit of a bitch move. This is your team, Devin Booker. I know that I don't need to tell you that, and I know you're aware that this is your team, but you are the face of this franchise, and not being willing to talk to the media after you get embarrassed on national television on your home court after a Game 6 playoff game, elimination game, and then also not coming back the next day to talk to the media. Devin Booker, I expect so much more from you. This is your team, and you need to show up for your team. And if I'm your teammate and I'm out there taking shots from the media, DeAndre Ayton getting asked if he wants to be traded, Chris Paul getting asked if this is the end of his career, and you're not there to answer questions about what the hell happened yesterday, I'm pissed. I'm sorry, but that's not acceptable. Am I crazy for saying that?
I mean, it definitely is not like a great look. I obviously would definitely prefer that he's there, right? But ultimately, like you look at it from his perspective, I'm sick as hell. Like I'm tired of this shit. If I'm Devin Booker, I dedicated my career to this sorry ass franchise, because it was a sorry ass franchise.
So say that. Take the time to put your butt out there and say that.
I like Devin Booker was at a point where it's like, I don't think he owes anybody shit. Like he's given so much to this fan base and his team and all that.
He's the face of the franchise.
Yeah, but
he's a leader.
He's the face of the franchise, but everyone else has let him down. Like he's consistently been like backing this franchise even when they didn't deserve it, and they keep letting his ass down. And obviously he didn't show up in that last game, but literally everyone else let him down in this series. Everyone let him down in this series. Monty let him down. KD let him down. Chris Paul, DA, like obviously they were dealing with their injuries, so I don't want to just say they let him down. But DA before the injury was sure as hell letting him down. Obviously, I agree. You want him there. It definitely would have been better if he was there. But I'm not going to sit here and crucify him for not, because I would be annoyed as shit. They're gonna ask you some dumbass questions
sore loser
about, with the exception
mentality.
of Gerald, because he only asks good questions. They're gonna ask you some dumbass questions about stuff that you have no control over, other guys' careers, other guys' lives. Like, I don't know. It obviously sucks. I do want him there, and I do agree that's a soft move.
Take it on the chin. Like, I'm sorry, that's like big sore loser energy.
But like I said,
think it's a bad look.
Everyone let him down. He's a grown ass man. He don't owe nobody nothing. He don't owe us nothing. I'm gonna sit here and live with it. He's gonna address it at some point. It's not like he's disappearing. I don't think he's requesting a trade, guys. Like, I think it'll be good. Plus, he's sitting there. He's gonna be in a room full of people that probably aren't gonna be there next year. I mean, like you said, we're gonna get talking to reports, but everyone knows Chris Paul might be gone, DA might be gone, Monty might be gone. Like, I'm not trying to answer questions for them. I'm not that mad at Book.
I'm disappointed, I think, more than anything, because he's the leader of this team. He's the face of this team. And I think it's a big sore loser energy to not just take it on the chin and get it over with and answer the questions that everyone wants to know and just move on. So
you wasn't with him shooting in the gym, though, Mac?
No, I wasn't shooting with him in the gym. That's for sure. I can't shoot a basketball at all. But I mean, I think I'm sorry, but I'm disappointed in him, and I'm entitled to feel that way. Like, I'm a big person that is accountability is everything to me.
I will say, like, this is the criticism of Book. Like, I know Suns fans love Devin Booker, but this is kind of the dude he is. And I say this as a fellow light skin. He's real light skin sometimes. The motherfucker he's real quiet. He's a silent assassin. And then he likes to talk shit at the end. And then he disappears when shit gets tough. Like, that's same shit with Jason Tatum. Like, and I don't think those two are the same guys, because Jason Tatum does a lot of corny shit and Devin Booker doesn't necessarily do. But I saw a tweet the other day, and it gets harder and harder to debunk this criticism. But like, these motherfuckers like acting, and again, less so Devin Booker, people assign this to him, but they act like like these two are cut from the Kobe cloth, and I don't necessarily know that that's the case. So it is a legitimate criticism of Devin Booker, but I don't know. I'm not going to sit here in this specific instance and criticize Devin Booker, because, like I said, everyone else let him down. I'd be tired of this shit too.
Yeah. Connor's saying Mac's not matched. He's just disappointed. I am just disappointed.
100%, understandable. I'm disappointed too, but I'm just trying to, I'm not going to sit here and crucify Book. He's the one person that's put it all on the line, that's dedicated everything to this team.
Yeah. When we're talking about the things that hurt the most about this season specifically, I think we have to talk about the fact that it felt so reminiscent to last season's playoffs.
Yeah.
A quick little recap for you, Sean. In 2021, the Suns blew a 2-0 lead in the NBA Finals to the Bucks. In 2022, they lost by 33 points in Game 7 of the Western Conference semifinals to the Dallas Mavericks. And in 2023, they lost by 25 points in Game 6 of the Western Conference semifinals to the Nuggets. Watching yesterday's game gave me war flashbacks. I was sitting there thinking, oh my God, this is 2022 all over again. And I am sick to my stomach watching this game. And I think that's why this hurts the most. Like, if we have to talk about why this hurts so bad, it's because I thought last season was never going to happen again, to never be repeated, because that loss was so tragic. And they did it again.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know, man. I'm getting crucified in the chat as a biracial person for criticizing a fellow biracial person for doing this shit we criticize for doing all the time. Nelly's just mad because he's a JT defender. But, yeah, man, I mean, I'm not going to mention the teams that I've been fans of throughout my life, but I've been through this before. It's consistent disappointment. And it, like,
No. I hear fans. No. This is the worst thing that I've seen in the past 10 years from any NBA fan. Like, to have to go through that 2 years back to back, like, you can't name me anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
That's why it sucks
I get
bad.
annoyed with that, because it's coming from a place of privilege. Like, I would rather be consistently disappointed in the playoffs than being an embarrassment every year.
No, I've been through the 10 years of the Suns being dog shit. I've been through the 10 years. I know,
you get your hopes so high just to get crushed.
Yeah, I know. It's not fun.
I've been through those 10 years of them not making the playoffs. These last 2 years have hurt way more than what those 10 years were.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, you got to have something to lose to
I never thought we would repeat last season's playoffs again because it was so embarrassing. I was sitting there like, this can't be happening. This is not a real basketball game. And it happened again. Like, deja vu. And that's why I'm like even more upset about it and why I feel like it hurts so bad because that shit should have never happened again. Have we learned nothing?
That should have happened in the first place.
Nothing. Have we not learned any lessons from last season? Like, how does this happen again? 2 seasons in a row.
Because they really didn't change shit. Because
they got Kevin
Durant. I know that. But when this kind of stuff keeps happening, it has nothing to do with the players on the team. It's about culture at that point. It's about the people at the top. Look at the consistent piece of this. It's Monty Williams. It's James Jones. It's this culture. So it doesn't matter who's there if the same shit's happening regardless. Like, you had a team that had better bench depth, that didn't have KD, that still had Mikal, and this shit happened against a team that was Jalen Brunson and Luka Doncic, where one of them is about to get knocked to the playoffs, the other one didn't even make the playoffs. And obviously, they're on different teams now, but like, yeah, man, it is
garbage.
It sucks. Yeah, like it sucks.
And also, like, a freaking Eastern European, of course.
Fucking Euros, dude.
Because we can't just play a team that doesn't have an unreal Eastern European on the roster.
A chubby, unreal Eastern European.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Anybody, give us anybody else that doesn't have an Eastern European all-star in the team. Like,
or give us an Eastern European. I want one, too.
I didn't think I'd ever have to suffer through that again, and I did. And I'm just tired of... watching the Suns fall so hard, like so hard, like a last-minute buzzer beater. Like, give me any other situation than getting blown out on my home court.
I would rather know at halftime that the game's over than get my shit ripped out with a last-second buzzer beater. I know at this point it's become a trend and it's consistently embarrassing. But okay. I understand now.
Absolutely, it's not even
in a
close.
single. Let me finish. In a single, like in a vacuum. I would, in one game, I would much rather know that the game is over at half. Obviously, now that it happened last year, like, this sucks. But
I would rather have Kawhi end my season like he did the 76ers than what happened last year for the first time. 100%.
I wouldn't,
just never living that down.
You're not really. I would rather. People could talk about all they want. Every single year now, you have to see that highlight of that man. You have to see fucking Joel Embiid.
No, you have to see
life
Luka
drained
Doncic's
from his face,
staring up at Devin Booker. A meme that is used over and fucking over again.
And now they put Photoshop Jokic's face on him now. Also, put some respect on Dario Saric's name. We did have an Eastern European Dario Saric. Okay,
not a chubby one.
He wasn't chubby,
not a chubby one, but it's okay. Listen, like I think there's a bunch of things that sucked about that game, specifically that made it worse than just losing. Like, if we categorize it and we just like said, okay, they lost, and here's like the extra reasons of why it sucks that we lost. Losing the way that we did after last year's playoffs sucks. The fact that we had to take it on the chin after all of the game we talked from not only Nuggets fans, all up in our comments.
Okay,
and Mavs
I will
fans
say this.
Too. Mavs fans were all over us.
I
Which,
definitely, like amongst friends, was
shit.
talking about the Nuggets, right? Y'all were foolish for getting on the internet trying to talk shit about the 1 seed. Like, that was you were only going to set yourself up for failure. I don't know why you were. I mean, like I said, amongst friends, fuck the Nuggets. Yeah. I didn't think this shit was going to go down like this, but I'm also not dumb enough to be getting on the internet talking about it. I don't want that smoke.
Yeah. So it just like there are so many things that compiled on top of it that was just like extra suck. Like, it sucked losing by itself, and then you just add the extra layer of suck. Speaking of an extra layer of suck, the fact that we traded, I don't want to say it because I don't want to. I'm so pro Mikal Bridges, so I'm trying not to be biased about this situation. We traded a very important piece.
This team's not winning with Mikal Bridges.
Hold on. We traded a very important piece of this team, as well as a secondary player that was a role player, for first-round draft picks. We hedged our future on getting a superstar here. Like I said, I'm not ready to say whether that was a good decision or a bad decision. We're not going to know until the rest of this KD situation plays out. But I think what also adds another layer of suck to this whole thing is we went from the highest mountaintop of the night that the news broke that Kevin Durant was going to be a Phoenix Sun to watching whatever that was in the playoffs. And I just don't know how we went from being on the highest high of getting Kevin Durant to wear purple and orange to being on the lowest low of watching him contribute to the playoffs, but not have a vintage Kevin Durant performance ever.
Yeah. It definitely is not fun. Yeah.
Extra layer of suck.
You don't like, it definitely adds an extra layer of suck for sure. We got a super chat, which I really want to read because it was a £2 super chat. Oh, we have multiple super chats. We have a $5 super chat from...
Do we have to read this? Well, you guys are freaking killing us.
The first one says for his $5 super chat from D Hug All Day. That says get rid of Ayton, which we'll get to. And then Ben Price, the £2 super chat from Ben Price. PHNX buns toasted again. LOL. Luka and Jokic your daddy. Which, honestly, you're right. You're right. What do you want me to say? You're right. They both have embarrassed this team. They embarrassed Devin Booker. You're right. But I can't take anything seriously because you're British.
Oh my God.
I don't think we've ever gotten a pound super chat.
I don't know.
Before.
That was honestly pretty cool.
Thank you for the pounds. We'll take it, even though we had to read that abhorrent comment.
Nothing's abhorrent when it's in a British accent.
Everything's abhorrent when it's British. And finally, the last layer of suck that we need to talk about, which is probably the biggest and the worst layer of suck out of all of them, in my opinion.
Stop saying layer of suck.
No, we're going with it. It's the thing now. The worst part of everything that happened last night, and I still we're about to play a video and I can't watch it because I will cry.
Oh no.
Was the fact that monstrosity of a game happened in front of the eyes of the most iconic person to broadcast a Suns game. And I kind of want to die. This was at the end of the game. Thank you to the legend that is Al McCoy. They gave him a little sign off, and the PA announcer, Vince Marotta, said, "Al, you will always be the voice of the Suns." For those of you that might not know, Al McCoy is a 90-year-old man who has retired. He has signed off for the last time of a Suns broadcast. He spent 51 years broadcasting Suns games on the radio. He started with the team in 1972. Do we have the pictures of Phoenix, by the way?
Yeah.
In case you were wondering, just some context, the picture, the black and white picture is what Phoenix looked like in 1972 when Al McCoy began broadcasting games for the Phoenix Suns. And obviously that is what Phoenix looks like now on the other side.
That's so funny.
That's wild.
That is crazy.
Insane. To think that is all of the change that Al McCoy has witnessed.
Yeah.
He is iconic. Shazam. The voice of the Phoenix Suns. And Al McCoy deserved better. And I'm just really sad that was his last game. And he had to witness that absolute crap show on a court.
Yeah, that was easily the saddest part of this. I was talking about Devin Booker and his commitment to a franchise. You want to talk about commitment to a franchise? Being here for 60 damn years, whatever it is.
51 seasons.
Yeah, that shit is... That's commitment to a franchise. So it was really sad knowing that's how his career went out. But it's almost spin zone. Maybe I'm making this up, but I believe in professional wrestling. It's kind of tradition for guys to end their careers on losses. So it's a sign of respect.
I'm hoping there is at least a championship before he leaves this earth so that he can at least watch them win. Because that is probably the worst way to retire and end your career is watching that game last night.
Yeah.
It's going to hurt. It's going to suck to not hear Al McCoy on the radio calls anymore, especially after 51 seasons. I don't really associate anyone else with the Phoenix Suns besides Al McCoy when it comes to broadcasting. So, Al McCoy, I am sorry that is what you watched as your last game broadcasting for the Phoenix Suns. But I do want to say thank you for everything. I have met Al McCoy many times as a journalism student, going to the Cronkite School and just around the arena. And he is absolutely a gem of a human being, just the sweetest guy you could possibly imagine. And I appreciate your kindness. And you will absolutely be forever an icon in Arizona sports broadcasting. And thank you for everything that you did for the Suns. And I hope you enjoy retirement. You have certainly earned it.
Yeah. You definitely earned a life better than watching this shit. That's for damn sure.
So yeah, thank you all for everything. I'm sorry you had to witness that. That was just the final level of suck that we had to endure with that game. All right, we're gonna get into the future of Monty Williams as the head coach of the Phoenix Suns, as well as the trade rumors surrounding Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton. But before we do that, we had the Game Time game of the week. And if you don't know, Game Time is the absolute best ticketing app out there for last minute people like myself who might procrastinate on getting tickets and are looking to go to a concert or a game, any type of sporting event, and you want to get some tickets. They have such good deals. It's insane. Every time I go onto their website or onto their app and I am looking at tickets for an event, I cannot believe how low the tickets are. It's honestly the best ticketing app out there, and it's obviously the fastest growing ticketing app in the country for a reason. So now we're going to have you in the comments play along. Sean and I are going to pitch a game to you, and you in the comments are going to tell us which game you would rather go to. Sean, who would you like to go first?
Got stretched by super chat, which we'll get to in a second. But you talk about one disappointing basketball team.
You can't start that.
Well, you talk about a disappointing basketball team. Let's go to one that hopefully will not be that disappointing. It shouldn't be disappointing. It should actually be kind of good. The Merc, baby. They're back. BG's back. DT's back. Slightly new look team. No, my girl, Diamond of Shields is gone, but that's fine.
It's okay. It's Sophie Cunningham's year.
Sophie Cunningham's here. BG is back in the Valley. And honestly, that right there is enough reason to go to a game. It's a long time. It's been a long time since we've seen BG in a Merc jersey. She deserves the support of the Valley. Obviously, DT didn't need to come back, and she's back doing her thing. So go support the legends.
Tell us about the game tonight, Sean.
LA Sparks. You know it's LA. Hate LA.
BLA forever and always.
BLA forever. It don't matter. NBA, WNBA, Gertz off to the side saying fuck LA. You know how
big
it
energy.
is.
Big energy.
And you can watch it on TV, but that's not the same. You got to go be in person, support Section 140. You got some pretty good deals.
Yeah, Section 140. Keep going.
Section 140. Only $32 to see BG back in the Valley, to see DT season opener for the Merc.
Look at that game from the court.
Look at that. In the corner, which is honestly like the best view.
Yeah,
you get some
corner
of the
views
bench,
are goated.
You get a good perspective on the game because you can sit center, but you can see it on TV. Not the same.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so that's your game of the week.
Absolutely.
Los Angeles Sparks at Phoenix Mercury. Only $32 for the lowest ticket, $44 for those great corner seats. Okay, my game of the week is also happening tonight. The San Francisco Giants are in town to take on the Arizona Diamondbacks, and it's a firework night.
Yes.
Who doesn't love firework nights? So I went on to the Game Time app, and I looked up seats that were on the lower level because I like sitting on the lower level, but also had an elite view of the fireworks because I don't like having to move. Like the people that sit in the outfield, or have obstructed views hate it. So I wanted to make sure that I could just sit in my happy little seat and I didn't have to move to watch the fireworks and also get a good view of the game. So I picked section 118, row 23. And the tickets are like $48, which I feel is phenomenal for that view that you have of the game, a lower level seat, and you also don't have to move. You can just like sit there and watch the fireworks after the game is over. So that is my Game Time game of the week. Let us know in the comments which game you would rather go to and who you think won that. Would you rather go to the Merc or the Diamondbacks game based off of everything you've just heard? And while you're doing that, make sure you also download the Game Time app. You can create an account. Use promo code PHNX for $20 off your first purchase. You guys, we're literally giving you $20 to go to a game. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code PHNX for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. All right, let's get into the absolute chaos that has already happened. Not
Can we read
even
our super chat first? We got another super chat.
Oh, okay, go for your super chat.
Ben came back. Another £2 super chat. Said, "You read my chat exactly how I sound in real life, LOL." I'm glad he wasn't offended. I wouldn't have really cared, but I'm glad.
Thank you, Ben, for being so nice. What do they say? It's Tuesday, mate.
It's Tuesday, isn't it?
Hello, Governor. Pip pip cheerio.
Okay, now you have every right to be offended. Now you have every right to be offended.
I have power down the stream.
Yeah, you have mute power too. You don't have to punish everybody.
Thank you, Ben, for having fun with us and not being terrible like some of the other people in the comments. All right. The Sun's dead body isn't even cold yet. Like, it's still a little warm, you know? Like, the body is still warm, and the absolute chaos that has erupted less than 24 hours after they just got blown out on national television is kind of crazy. Like, I was kind of, like, mentally preparing myself and gearing up for, like, the craziness that this offseason is going to be because there are so many unanswered questions that we have. But I just didn't think it was going to happen, like, today. Right now. Like,
I mean, I'm not that surprised because this is how this shit works. But like, I didn't necessarily think it was all going to be like all of it at once. Like, I was not surprised that we started hearing stuff, but it's just like
all of it is happening right now.
Your coach is getting fired, and your two of your 4 starters are gone.
So the rumor mill is literally going insane. I think we have a screenshot from a tweet. NBA Trade Central posted something like early this morning about the fact that the Suns are already aggressively shopping Chris Paul to other teams. Can't confirm or deny. Take NBA Central for whatever you will. I don't know how quickly the Suns can shop CP3. Feels like it's a little too soon, like read the room type of thing.
I mean, if they're doing this off this, like they were probably already planning on shopping CP3.
Yeah,
I don't think this series changed anything.
They're expected to shop CP3 aggressively. Looking at CP3 season stats, he averaged 13.9 points, 4 rebounds, 8 assists, and he shot 44% from the field. Not terrible, not great.
Listen, I know people love to shit on like just to shit on Chris Paul and call him an old man, but like he's not Landry Shamet. Like, there's worse point guards in, like, you could be starting Landry Shamet every day, and I know damn well I've seen y'all on the internet. That's not what y'all want.
Put some respect on Landry Shamet.
I don't have a problem with Landry. I have honestly supported Landry way more than I think the average fan.
Off in Game 5.
Yeah, like
holy shit, guys, are we serious?
Listen, I'm not saying he's good. Like I just said, you don't want him starting. I have been nicer to Landry Shamet than most people.
Most people.
But I also
been wrong. More wrong than most
people?
I
liked him before he became a Sun. So
CP3 heading to China.
Listen, whatever. But there's worse situations than Chris Paul. I think he got scapegoated a lot, and just people made fun of him because he's old. But at this point, like, you need to change things, and he's not getting any younger. Like, you need a younger point guard. You just do. So I don't have a problem with this.
I think his age is definitely a valid concern. I think kind of the way that he slowed down towards the end of the season, obviously definitely a concern. His injury proneness and somehow miraculously getting injured in big games in the playoffs is just another curse that we are trying to manage. I will say right now, I don't think I would be heartbroken if Chris Paul is not a Phoenix Suns next season. I think that we can probably do better at the point guard position.
You definitely can do better. Yeah.
So I will not be heartbroken if he leaves. Do you disagree?
No, I love Chris Paul. I think he's one of the best point guards of all time. But he's not that right now anymore. And I think they need youth. They need someone that could keep up with these younger guys. They can keep up with Devin Booker. I got highlights from my life. But yeah, no, I'm not gonna be that.
Well, Chris Paul did talk to the media today, and Gerald, our very own Gerald Bourguet, was there, and he asked Chris Paul a question just about the work that he's put in, and what value he really provides. And this is what he had to say.
I'm gonna tell you, you don't play 18 years in this league at a high level and not understand how to adjust and adapt with the game. I've been in this NBA a lot longer than some of people been covering it. You know what I mean? So I remember when the games ended in 80 to 85 scores. You know what I mean? So I don't talk about it too much, but I know this game just about better than anybody. You know what I mean? I put that up against anybody. So that's what's not going to change, right? It's my knowledge of the game, and I'm going to keep putting in the work. You know what I mean? So mad at it, if you hate it, it's on you. Fuck it.
So if you mad at it, you hate it, that's on you. Fuck it. Chris Paul, everybody.
True.
I mean, I will say if he does provide any like intangible value, it is the fact that he does really know, like he is very cerebral about the game of basketball.
Like I said, he's one of the best point guards of all time.
Yeah.
That part of the game doesn't disappear with age. It's just there are things that do disappear with age, and the knowledge only gets you so far. Like you got to physically be able to do what the team needs you to do to win, and he's obviously getting to a point where he really can't do that. So, I do think he is. There's a lot he could provide. Cycle Hawk in the chat saying he's going to make a great coach one day, and I agree. I think he could make him. Shane and I were talking about this earlier. Make him JJ Redick's assistant. That'd be a vibe. Like I think he provides a lot of value on a team, but considering who he is and the money he's got, wants to get paid, all that kind of stuff, like I don't think the role that he could fill is really a role that he's interested in taking. So
yeah, absolutely. Someone did at the media day ask Chris Paul about his future with the team, his contract situation, and he said, "My contract's not up, but unfortunately, I'm not the GM or anything like that, so we will see." Quote.
That's the other part of this. Like people are just like, "Oh, CP3's gone, Deandre Ayton's gone." Like
they're under contract.
They're not free agents. So.
Yeah, they are not free agents. That's for sure. So something would definitely have to be facilitated in the terms of salary trade type of deal. Someone earlier in the comments said, Triple B said it actually. I think he was talking about the other scary things about this offseason, and it's the fact that the Suns are so limited in what they can do with cap space. But yes, which is also very scary. And so, if CP3 and Deandre Ayton aren't going to be a part of this team, it's going to have to be in a deal facilitated that moves them because they're not free agents. So CP3 doesn't know what his future holds. He's not the GM, like he said. His contract is also not up. But like I said, I would not be heartbroken if he is not in a Suns uniform next season. I'm trying not to be overreactive and freak out because I need some time to digest what I watched last night.
The problems with this team are the problems that we knew. Like we were just kind of hoping that they were going to get past the problems that we knew they had.
Yeah.
Like they knew the bench depth. People been questioning Monty. People been hating on Kevin Durant. DeAndre Ayton, Jesus. People been calling Chris Paul old. Like
washed.
Like that's what it is. We knew what the problem was, and it just reared its ugly head.
UID Films in the comments saying, let him come off the bench. I think that's the role that Sean was talking about that he probably doesn't want to play.
And also, it's a lot of money to be paying someone to come off the bench.
Yeah, it's a lot of money to be paying someone to come off the bench. So I don't necessarily think that's the answer either. One thing that I do know is not the answer is let's not run it back.
Yeah, you can't.
Let's not run it back. There's some retooling that needs to happen with the Phoenix Suns that involves multiple people currently on the roster and people outside of the organization that need to be brought here because we can't run it back. Like we can't do this again. I think that Kevin Durant and Devin Booker are definitely amazing pieces to build around, and they're going to get more time to play together. They're going to get times getting to know each other better, and like that team chemistry is going to be built. So I'm happy about that, but we're definitely not going to be running it back. Let's hope to God. Speaking of one other person that we're not sure we're going to be running it back with is DeAndre Ayton. This season, he averaged 18 points, 10 rebounds, 1 assist, and he shot 58% from the field. Yeah. Listen, the narrative surrounding DeAndre Ayton has always been so complicated, and there's a lot of factors that go into the discussion surrounding his future with the team that have some things to do with his performance on the court, his performance off the court. He's just like, I feel like there's been a negative narrative around DA that he's never truly been able to shake. And this playoff series, I don't think reflected his basketball abilities in the best light. No. I think he didn't really do great.
Basketball abilities, certainly no. Like, I mean, yeah, we know DeAndre Ayton is talented, but like I was talking about this with Toach the other day. At what point do we stop like being like, oh, he's capable of so much more, and being like, this is just, he just might be like an okay basketball player who obviously has the physical abilities to be a really good basketball player and the talent to be a really good basketball player, but that's only like a portion of this. It's a lot of mental stuff. It's also part of being in the right situation too. I don't know. Like, I think it's a little more complicated than saying that DA is just a bad basketball player or is just a complete bum. But I also just don't think he's, probably not a number 1 overall pick. Obviously, he was when he was. Like, I'm not saying that it was a bad pick at the time.
Lord help us that there aren't
what
any
he's
Mavs
become.
fans in our comments right now.
It is what it is.
Yeah. Someone posted on the internet his college highlights and then like highlights from like one of his like professional seasons. The difference was astounding.
Well, yeah, the difference was also that he was playing against children and now he's playing against grown men. Like,
but like there were like intangible things that you could identify in the video. Yeah. Like he was a leader on the court. He like looked like he wanted to be there. Like I don't really think I've ever seen.
Like all stuff that's easier when you're dominating and you're playing children and you're teammates with children. When you're on a team with Devin Booker and Chris Paul, it's not the same to be a leader, and it's also you're playing tougher opponents.
Yeah, but I think the red flags really started to go off for me when the original rumors about KD coming to Phoenix were circling, and Brooklyn was like, "We don't want DeAndre Ayton." They were like, "Nope, we're good, thank you. Like, we don't want DA." Like, that was like a very like popular, like unconfirmed, I guess, rumor about what the Nets were saying when the original trade talks were happening, and I was like, well, that's unfortunate because I would rather you have DA. And the Nets were like, no, we're good. So yeah, I mean, I'm not on the I hate DA train, but I'm also not on the I think DA needs to be a Phoenix Suns train. Like, I think they took a chance with him when they took him first overall, and I think that experiment has kind of like gone past its lifetime, and we are done with the experiment, and we have seen DA for what he can provide, and I just don't think he has what the Suns need. Not saying that he can't be a valuable member of a team somewhere else in the NBA. I'm sure he can, but I just don't think he serves much more purpose for the Phoenix Suns and where their timeline is. Does that mean? Is that horrible?
I will say, someone said in the chat, he's 24. Give him a chance with new coach. Von saying give him a chance without Monty. Like, I do think there's my problem with it is that he has not played well recently. So what is his value? What are you going to get from him? You can't just be giving dudes away. I don't care what you think of them. You can't just be giving dudes away. Maybe he has a chance to be better, with a new coach. So if you can get something good for him, I have no problem moving on with him. I'm not attached to the hip with him like I am obviously Devin Booker. But if he is on the team next year, I'm not gonna burn it down. We got a third super chat from our British boy Ben.
Fan.
£2
More
again. Give Ayton and Dwight Powell. Give Ayton for Dwight Powell and Bertans. Great deal. I don't know about all that, but it's a lot more fun when you say it in a British accent. That's for damn sure.
Someone else scroll up for me. Someone else in the comments. Forgive me, I don't know how to say your name. Cordy. I'd be happy to build around Book, KD, and DA if we move Monty and everyone else. So that brings up my next point. Is like, obviously we saw a tenuous exchange between DA and Monty in last year's playoffs.
Mm-hmm. And we went through the whole offseason thing. We started the season with Monty saying, I haven't spoken to DA, which I think concerned me a little bit, because if you end the season on a bad note, I would hope that as the coach, you would take time to reach out to that player and kind of mend bridges over the offseason, whatever. So how much of it is Monty's coaching and how much of it is DA just not being the guy? Bo, I think it's like, I don't know if 50-50 is fair, but I mean, it's both of them. Like, at a certain point, you have to cater to your talent a little bit. Like, that's just kind of the nature of NBA, of professional sports now. Like, players have a decent amount of power. You have to cater them to a little bit, but at the same time, obviously, DA has not been there, like, mentally. He's not been completely bought in. Just a little bit. I mean, like I've said, you got to get rid of Monty. At this point, like, you just... I suppose said it well on Twitter last night. Like, I think he is this team's Mark Jackson. Like, he's been here. He's built a little bit of a culture. He's got a good roster, but he's clearly not the guy that's going to get him over the hump. Like,
I wonder too, like, if any of DA's like development was not stunted, but not maybe necessarily like fostered in a way that was productive for him, because I think you see it all the time. Like, you just have athletes and coaches that just don't vibe. And, in college, like, you transfer and go to another school, or in the NBA, you request a trade. And we all obviously had all of that contract drama with DA and him not getting his rookie max extension that he wanted. Like, so I just wonder if, there's just like, we're past the point of no return with DA, which I kind of think we have reached that point, and we've gotten everything out of DA that we were going to get. And
you're
so,
only past the point of, because like I said, I think you have to fire Monty, and I think that's inevitable. You're only past the point of no return if Devin Booker is done with Deandre, and or I guess if James Jones, if doesn't get fired.
Yeah.
If James Jones or Devin Booker are done with DA, then you do have to move on. But after that, if Monty's done with DA, fuck Monty. If you're firing him, it doesn't matter. And then again, unless or Ishbia, obviously, if he's done with DA, then nothing you're doing there.
Yeah.
But I am not completely out on DeAndre Ayton, but like I said, I'm not so attached to him that if he gets moved on, I'm gonna want to burn it all down.
I think it is truly one more year.
One more year?
If
with Monty?
No, without Monty.
Oh yeah,
Without
I agree,
Monty.
100%.
I think because you change an external factor.
Yeah,
you have to change something.
You do have to change something, and a lot of people have been saying like, oh well, give Monty a full year with KD. I've seen that, and my problem with that is it's like, okay, do that. If it doesn't work out, well, then you are in this situation all over again because you're going to have a new head coach and you're going to be like, oh, well, give him a more than 1 year, and well, oh yeah, KD's a free agent now, so you don't have that. Like you got to start. Time is limited. KD's getting older. Chris Paul's getting older. If he's still here, like if he's not, he's losing value. You got to do something now, man.
We don't have all the time in the world to dilly-dally. The media did ask DA on his future with the Suns today, and this is what DA had to say.
Man, I love Phoenix, man. Honestly, I'm going to continue playing hard for Phoenix. I'm going to keep repping Phoenix like I always been repping Phoenix. And that's about it. I don't listen to the outside noise, man. I'm here. I'm happy. We didn't finish off the season the way we wanted to, but it's always next year. And, this summer is just more work. We just got to do a little bit more work. And, NBA teams are getting smarter and tougher. It's harder to win in the NBA, so there's a lot to focus on this summer, man.
And as you've said in the past, you play for your teammates just as much as yourself, right?
Most definitely. Me and just having the type of chemistry and knowing the personnel our guys have, why not? It would look kind of crazy, you hanging out with this dude off the court, but you can't have his back on the court. So, that's the type of model we go by on this team. So.
I think it's so funny that whenever he's answering questions about his emotions, he's like, yeah, I'm so happy.
Yeah, I mean, he's
like every single time. But anyway,
all I'll say is that I think people forget that he's from here. Like I don't think he has a problem with playing for the Phoenix Suns. You change Monty, I think his attitude about all this changes.
Yeah, I think if you're going to make a change, I think I don't know. He did say I love Phoenix. I'm going to continue to play hard for Phoenix. Whatever his definition of hard is, that's up for interpretation. So we'll see what happens with DA and CP3 in the offseason. I genuinely, my gut reaction is I would not be sad to see either of them go. I'm not attached to either of them. I think we've seen enough. The last thing really quickly that we want to talk about is the potential of Monty getting fired. When he was talking to the media today, he said, quote, "It's not something that I'm worried about, but it is part of the NBA economy." So Monty is not raising any alarm bells. And I just want to end with the point of like, I'm just nervous about moving on from Monty because I've seen the coaching carousel that the Suns have had before Monty got here. With the absolute shit show of the coaches that they ran through in like a 5-season period. And I know how important a coach is to an NBA team. And I'm scared that we're going to get back in a coaching carousel that is going to cost this team time. And the one thing this team doesn't have is time. So I just
Igor Kokoskov, please.
Yeah. Igor Kokoskov, my guy. So I'm scared to get back in that point because the Suns don't have time. Like KD is getting older. And if we do move on from Monty, coaches are so important and they can't afford to get it wrong. And they have gotten it wrong in the past. And so it just scares me. But I do want to say, I think Monty is an amazing human being. I think he has a great heart and I think he is a great man. And I think he's a great example.
That is a win basketball game, so I don't give a shit.
The translation to the decisions he makes as a coach sometimes isn't the best, like not calling a timeout when the opposing team's on a 17-0 run. But I do think he is a great human being. And I think I'm scared to let Monty go. But if an adjustment has to be made, I think I would prefer to give DA another year and get another head coach in here and see if that head coach can get more out of DA than we have. because I think that's an easier fix, but I just don't want to get back in a coaching carousel.
Bring me JJ Redick. They don't have time to keep fucking around with Monty, but they do have time for the beach. Gotta get that beach bod ready. And do I have the brand for you? It's Manscaped. It's the perfect thing to get your beach body ready. They got it all. The Lawnmower 4.0, Weed Whacker 2.0, whatever you need, they got it. Go to manscaped.com. And when you do, you can get 20% off and free shipping when you use the code PHNX. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code PHNX at manscaped.com. Trim your chesticles with the besticles.
All right, guys. That concludes our son's funeral for the 2022-2023 Phoenix Suns. I hope you all feel a little bit better. I feel a little bit better. I feel like I got a lot off my chest and I can go about my day without wanting to cry.
I feel the exact same way I did. I don't get caught up in emotion.
Ready to get really drunk.
I feel ready for you to
alcohol.
stay right here on the PHNX Sports YouTube page because PHNX Sun Devils is going to be live
coming up
in 5 minutes.
5 minutes. So stay locked into the YouTube channel and tune into PHNX Sun Devils. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the show, especially to all you Suns fans who are in the chat. Hang in there.
Thank you to the haters too.
I know it freaking sucks. Hopefully next year is our year. I'm with you. My heart is with you, Suns fans. Nuggets fans, I freaking hate you right now, but I also hope that you beat whoever you're playing in the next round because fuck LA forever and always, and California can suck a dick. So thank you for tuning in. I hope you all have a wonderful Friday. Make sure you lock back in next Friday at 12:30 for our next episode. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Bye.